As you sit down with high performers, they know them. They can tell you, I do this, 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 this. And you're like, man, you're on your game.
And they're always probably looking to improve it.
What I found was they get pissy if they're off it.
Yeah, of course. I didn't meditate this morning, and I was like, I was kind of frustrated a little bit. Someone asked me when we were at our meeting today at the Soho House, he was like, how was your meditation? Because he knows I like to meditate. And I was like, I missed this morning. I did yesterday, but I missed this morning. It's agitating when I miss one of my habits.
Yes.
It's like, I need to get up earlier. And yeah.
That is exactly what you just said. It really agitates high performers when they're off their energetic
Absolutely.
habits. The third big personal habit, which, by the way, I've been teaching high performance for a decade. We have the #1 seminar on that and the #1 online course. And I was wrong. I never knew this was the thing. And you're going to laugh because you're like, duh, dude, I could have sat you down. But I just didn't know. I taught it as like subtext, but I didn't know it was the thing. And that is high performers raise necessity. And what that means is they raise the necessity of performance in their mind before each performance. They say, I got to do great. And they give themselves reasons why. Know your why is nice. Know your why and give yourself edge for it.
The most important thing, I think, is to be in love with the doing, with the verbs, the actual acts, if you want to talk in sports terms, the dribbling, the shooting, the practice.
Yeah.
But the sharing is another. There's always a sort of like generosity in the making, in a sense, just because you're like, I don't know if it's generosity. Sharing is about generosity. It's about, and maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's putting yourself into your craft enough that you come up with something that you genuinely feel like needs to be in the world.
This is a topic I'm really passionate about right now. I believe self-doubt is one of the biggest killers to anyone's dreams.
Yeah.
So how does someone develop self-confidence and sustain it with the ever-going changes and stresses and uncertainties that always come up?
Yeah.
Once you reach a certain level, there's a new uncertainty.
Yeah. So I think it's ironic that we call it self-confidence. Because I don't, for one, think it comes from the inside. I think our self-confidence comes from the outside. Right?
You mean that's the wrong way of going about it, or you think that's where it comes from in general?
We are being misdirected by the name. When we say build your self-confidence, that's the instruction is saying go inside, look inside oneself. Mm-hmm. But I think that's a false direction. Children aren't born self-confident. Their confidence is built from their parents and their friends and their teachers, where they're rewarded when they do well and they're pushed when they fail, when they can do better. Simply, we know this, that simply telling kids that they're great all the time actually doesn't build self-confidence, actually does the total opposite. Right? And I, for one, I can tell you, in my own experience, my own self-confidence, 100% comes from the relationships that I have. It's not some deep internal fortitude. A world famous trapeze artist is not going to try a brand new death-defying act for the first time without a net. So it's the people in my life. It's when I do doubt myself that somebody says, you got this. When somebody says, I believe in you. When somebody says, no matter what happens, whether it succeeds or fails, I'm going to be by your side. That's when I have the confidence to do difficult things.
Wow.
Right? I don't have some natural battery that just
right.
That to me is bravado.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's self-confidence. Being a huge risk taker is not an indication of self-confidence to me. Jumping out of a plane and jumping out of a plane with a parachute are two different things. Right?
Right.
To me, self-confidence is measured, and there should be a degree of doubt. But I think true self-confidence belief in oneself and belief in one's cause, I could not do the things that I'm doing, and I would not have the strength to have made the sacrifices that I've made, or continue to wake up on a daily basis to drive to spread this message, if I were alone. And so when we talk about building one's self-confidence, I think the mistake that we make is that we look inside. I think the reality is when we're trying to build our self-confidence, we should be looking to our friends. We should be nursing our relationships. When I'm looking to build my self-confidence, the question is, who around me do I need to take care of? The way we build our self-confidence is by helping somebody else build theirs.
Right.
It's an act of, we will build our confidence with an act of service.
But that's true not only in a broad sense that we're part of these tribes, like big tribes, what it means to be a Christian or to be American or to be Australian or whatever. But it's also true in the small tribes that we belong to, what it means to be a neighbor on this street or a member of your local CrossFit gym or to volunteer for a local organization. All of those tribes, all of those groups that you belong to have a set of shared expectations, a set of shared norms. And the key, if you want to build habits that last, if you want to change the way that you interpret cues, is to join a group where the desired behavior is the normal behavior, right? Like there are plenty of people who they want to work out, but going to the gym feels like a lot to them. It feels hard, feels like a sacrifice. But there are also people who go to the gym every week and it's just normal. It doesn't feel like an obligation. That's the desired behavior is the normal behavior.
Their lifestyle.
Right. Same thing for musicians, like if you want to learn an instrument, hang out with people who play all the time. Like if you hang out with a bunch of musicians, it's like, well, yeah,
that's what we do all day.
We play 4 days a week. We play 7 days a week because it just happens. That's what the tribe does. The caveat to this, and the thing that I don't see people mention a lot, is that the reason social norms influence our behavior so much is because we want to belong to the tribe. We want to be friends with those people. And so we don't want to lose the friendship or lose belonging over violating the norms.
If there was a genie and a genie could grant you any one wish, but only one wish, what would you wish for? If it was only one wish, what would you wish for?
Most people would say money or this or that, but you think learning is the key?
I think a lot of people
I think
go
being
for
the Matrix, like downloading the Matrix, it's where I can learn jujitsu in a second.
Exactly.
If I can learn a language in a second, if I can have this skill.
So I think the hack a lot of people would do is if it was any one wish, they would wish for more wishes, right?
Exactly.
They would ask for infinite wishes. So the equivalent, if I was your learning genie and I could grant you any one wish to learn any subject or any skill, just like become a master at it, what's the equivalent of the answer of asking for infinite wishes? It would be learning how to learn. Because if you can learn how to learn, the world is yours, especially today, because nobody who's listening and watching gets paid for their brute strength. It's their brain strength. It's not your muscle power. It's completely your mind power. And the challenge is your brain doesn't come with an owner's manual. It's not user-friendly, and that's the reason why I wrote this book. But the Limitless Model is an explanatory schema, a framework for learning anything faster. And not only that, but really for accessing our human potential. Because I think if there's one infinite, limitless resource on planet Earth, it's human capability. There's no limit on our determination. There's no limit to our imagination. There's no limit to our creativity. And yet we're not shown how to be able to access that. And so this framework is a 3-part framework. And what I would offer everyone to do is, I love to turn this into like a little master class, make it really engaging. And so don't listen passively, because we don't learn through, the human brain doesn't learn through consumption. It learns through creation and creativity and getting involved in things. And I know a lot of us learn faster when we actually roll up our sleeves and do it. So I would encourage everybody as they're working out or cleaning the house or whatever they're doing at the same time to try to get involved in this.
High performers seek clarity. And what that means for them is every situation they go into, they're seeking clarity and setting intention. And it's not like once in a while, they're doing it way more often. It's like, I've been blessed to work with Oprah Winfrey. When she has a meeting, at the start of every meeting, she asks, what's our intention here? What's the intention of this meeting? Not what's the agenda, what do I do? What's the intention? That's every meeting. So she's seeking clarity at the beginning of every meeting. That's why she's so amazing, right? If you think about her whole career, she was always trying to have people seek clarity on who they were so they could be themselves. That's what high performers are doing.
If you watch old clips of like Kobe Bryant, he'll talk about like, I'm just a fan of all these people, and I'm just stealing their moves, and I'm just trying to do the game better. And Kobe's he was one of those guys that grew up with VHS tapes, which makes it completely, the way I've had it explained to me is it's like when you can watch replays of other players and famous players and watch their moves, you can study on the couch.
Yeah.
As a player, you don't have to be like up against them and that idea that you're a fan first, that you ingest all this stuff first and you take it in and it mixes around, and then through your practice, all that stuff comes gushing out eventually, and it comes out in it's like a gumbo in your head. You're just adding stuff, and eventually you ladle it out and it's something new.